contained within the cartridge. So if you just have some way of holding it tightly and then setting it off, basically you've got a gun. As Josh was saying, it's a very dumb way to make a gun. A barrel that can fire again and again depends on the spring properties of steel. You might not think of it, but steel, in a gun barrel, expands and contracts and has to do the same thing every time in order to fire consistently and safely. Plastic doesn't have that type of elastic deformation. It has plastic deformation. Surprise. And plastic deformations means every time there's pressure, it fatigues and expands and changes a little bit. So even with a weak gun like the Liberator, which is about this big when it's printed out and can only fire a single shot of 380, which you can buy a gun for $150, it's this big and holds 7 shots of 380, it will only be able to safely, and I use that term very loosely, fire 1 or 2 shots. So FAL, it's not where the trigger group goes, but where the bolt goes. So these are just parts that have been arbitrarily defined by the ATF as the receiver. That's what you need to get through an FFL if you're just a regular person. And so making a gun yourself, we keep mentioning the you can't make it for the purpose of sale thing. It's interesting, and that's actually more of a tax law violation than anything else, because it's not that it's illegal.
Taxes.
Yeah, it's not that it's illegal to make guns for sale. It's that if you do not have a manufacturer's license and special occupational tax paid, you cannot be making and selling guns. So what people do and have done for a long time is they buy parts kits, which is people go overseas and they buy large quantities of machine guns. They destroy what is the receiver, the only thing that is considered the firearm. So like on an AK-47, that's this bent piece of tubing piece of steel that goes in the bottom. You cut that up in 3 pieces like the ATF tells you to. And then the rest of it has the legal significance of a pencil. You can buy it and have it shipped directly to your house. And for many, many, many years in this country, people have bought these 80% kits and they get together in their garages. There's a guy on YouTube who literally built an AK-47 from the parts kit and he used a shovel to make the receiver. And as long as you don't make it a machine gun or a short-barreled rifle or anything that's illegal, you are good to go.
That's very interesting. So why do you think that there's all of this fear about 3D printed guns, but we don't hear nearly as much about the gun kits?
Paranoia.
I don't. And if you really want to get a firearm that works well without a background check, the federal government doesn't consider anything made before it's either 1899 or 1898 to be a firearm. There have been no
front-loading muskets.
Well, no. There have been no fundamental changes in firearms technology that occurred after that. They are fixed cartridge, full power weapons, a lot of which take the same cartridges that you can use now. I have 2 French 1892 cavalry revolvers, which function exactly as would a Smith & Wesson revolver. And they are legally, they have the significance of a pencil. You can get a 45-70, a lot of the old lever action rifles. Those aren't firearms.
A monocle to fire it or no?
No, I just put on a pith hat and grow a mustache.
Probably have a huge bicycle wheel, right?
But still, and then also replicas of black powder firearms that were designed before that time are also not firearms. So you can buy an Italian 6-shot revolver. It's 6 shots. It's more than a Liberator, and it's made of steel. And it's rifled.
It won't melt when you shoot it.
Yeah, and it will maybe hit your target, unlike the Liberator.